Today, the U.S. military says it blew up 6 Iranian small boats in the
U.S. Central Command says Iran fired cruise missiles and drones at U.S. flagged ships and U.S. Navy ships in the Strait earlier.
Will begin the process of blockading any and all ships trying to enter or leave the Strait of Hormuz.
Dawn, Strait of Hormuz. The water looks almost harmless, flat silver under a pale orange sky, tankers crawling east like sleepy giants between Oman and Iran. But in less than 20 minutes, this narrow channel transforms into a kill box. 50 suicide boats incoming. What unfolds next becomes a brutal demonstration of how modern naval warfare really works. The setting matters. The Strait of Hormuz is only about 21 nautical miles wide at its narrowest point, with actual shipping lanes far tighter than that. Roughly a fifth of the world's traded oil moves through this corridor. Every captain in the Gulf knows it. Every admiral plans around it. Every regional rival stares at it like a loaded weapon. This morning, a U.S. Navy Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyer, the USS Mason, is escorting 2 commercial tankers through the outbound lane. Around 300 sailors on board. Spy 1D radar rotating. Electronic warfare suite awake. 5-inch deck gun covered in salt haze. Mk-38 25mm guns trained outward. Phalanx CIWS mounts dormant but ready, like coiled muscle. An MH-60R helicopter sits armed and fueled. Above the horizon, unseen by the naked eye, a P-8A Poseidon patrol aircraft is sweeping the water with maritime radar. Farther back, intelligence feeds are flowing into Bahrain, Qatar, and every screen that matters. Imagine you're standing on that destroyer's bridge. It smells like electronics, coffee, and hot metal. You can see merchant hulls ahead, fishing traffic off to port, rocky Iranian coastline in the distance. It feels tense, but familiar. Another escort mission. Another day in one of the most watched waterways on Earth. Then regional tension spikes. Overnight, a fictional crisis has pushed the Gulf to the edge. Insurance rates have exploded. Commercial traffic has slowed. Iran's Revolutionary Guard Navy in this scenario decides to test a theory: don't fight the American ship to ship. Swarm it. Saturate it. Overload human reaction. Overload optics. Overload conscience. Force hesitation, then detonate at point-blank range. Not a fleet action. Not a missile duel. A hunt in confined water. From concealed coves near Bandar Abbas, Qeshm Island, and smaller staging points along the Iranian coast, 50 fast attack craft begin moving in broken groups. Some are genuine military boats. Some are civilian hulls repurposed as one-way weapons, packed with explosives, extra fuel, fragmentation jackets, and remote communications gear. A few carry rockets to add confusion. Most have one job only: close distance and die hard enough to cripple a destroyer or set a tanker ablaze. From the enemy's perspective, the math feels seductive. The channel is tight. Radar returns are cluttered. Civilian traffic creates hesitation. A suicide boat is cheap. A destroyer is not. One successful impact on the waterline. One blast against the propellers. One tanker burning in the lane. Suddenly the strait is blocked, global markets panic, and a tactical stunt becomes strategic leverage. That is the plan. And for a few minutes, the men organizing it believe they have found the seam in American power. They believe saturation will beat sophistication. They believe a mass of cheap hulls can turn a billion-dollar warship into prey. They believe the United States will be too cautious, too rule-bound, too slow. But there's a problem with their plan. They are thinking about one ship. The Americans are fighting as a network. What they didn't account for is information dominance. They see a destroyer. The destroyer sees the horizon. The U.S. system sees the entire battlespace. Overhead infrared picks up unusual heat signatures at multiple small launch points before sunrise. Signals intelligence notices burst transmissions across known guard naval circuits. The P-8A notices clusters leaving coves where clusters should not be leaving at that hour. An MQ-4C Triton farther out feeds persistence. Link 16 stitches it together. Fifth Fleet watches the pattern form in real time. And here is the fatal flaw: a swarm only works if it arrives as surprise. The moment it is recognized early, it stops being a swarm and becomes a sequence of targets. 16 minutes before first possible contact, the tactical action officer on Mason gets the alert. Multiple high-speed surface tracks departing Iranian shoreline. Bearing updates incoming. Correlation probability rising. Hostile intent assessment pending. 14 minutes. General quarters sounds. If you've never heard it on a warship, picture a calm voice announcing danger while everything around you accelerates. Boots hammer steel ladders. Hatches slam. Consoles bloom with data. Sailors who were eating, sleeping, joking, checking gauges are suddenly at combat stations. Heart rate spikes. Training takes over. You're there now. The bridge darkens for display clarity. Combat Information Center becomes the ship's brainstem. No wasted motion. No shouting for drama. Just clipped voices and numbers. 12 minutes. The tanker masters are ordered to alter spacing and maintain speed. Civilian crews don't fully understand yet. They just hear urgency in the radio traffic. The destroyer shifts position, not simply to protect itself, but to keep the attack vectors away from the merchant ships behind it. That matters. A warship can fight hurt. A supertanker full of crude is a floating catastrophe. 10 minutes. The first picture clarifies. 50 contacts, broken into 6 groups. Some moving fast. Some loitering. Some mixing with legitimate small craft. That is classic clutter exploitation. Could you make the call from a radar screen alone? Which blip is a fisherman and which one is a bomb with a man at the wheel? This is where training and rules of engagement become the difference between defense and disaster. Warnings go out in Arabic, Farsi, and English on bridge-to-bridge radio. U.S. helicopter launches. The MH-60R lifts off the deck, blades hammering the morning air. Climbing just enough to get clear sight lines and laser targeting. Its sensors immediately start sorting behavior. Not flags. Not hull paint. Behavior. Closing speed. Course stability. Formation geometry. Who is turning away, and who keeps coming? 8 minutes. One group breaks hard toward the outbound lane. Another angles behind a cluster of civilian dhows. A third accelerates from the north like it has been waiting for a cue. Now the pattern is undeniable. Coordinated converging attack. Hostile intent confirmed. Weapons free on declared hostile craft. The first engagement begins well beyond cinematic knife fight range. The MH-60R takes the lead, because altitude gives clarity and clarity saves seconds. Laser-guided rockets flash downward. One fast boat disappears in a white-orange splash. Another loses its bow and cartwheels. 2 more scatter. The helicopter crew keeps calling targets, feeding Mason's CIC with better geometry than the ship can get from sea level alone. 50 incoming becomes 46. The destroyer opens with its 5-inch Mk-45 gun against the densest cluster at longer range. This is not blind naval bombardment. It's computer-directed steel, walking explosive rounds across the waterline of boats doing 40 knots. The first shell lands short. The second detonates beside a lead craft, rolling it onto its side. The third punches through 2 hulls in spray and flame. The sound reaches the bridge as a distant, chest-thumping crack. 43. Now the range collapses. Fast. This is where a lot of people misunderstand modern naval combat. They imagine one miracle weapon. One button. One shield. Real defense is layers. Observation. Classification. Warning. Standoff fire. Medium caliber guns. Precision weapons. Close-in guns. Electronic warfare. Decoys. Maneuver. All stacked. All overlapping. All buying seconds for the next layer. 7 minutes. The first southern wave splits, textbook predator behavior. A few boats run straight at the destroyer to fix attention. Others drift wide, trying to attack from quarter angles where gunners have to traverse and the target profile changes. They are trying to create paralysis through multiplication. 1 threat. Then 5. Then 20. Then the sea erupts. Mason answers with discipline. Portside Mk-38s engage. Starboard guns engage. Tracers start skipping across the water in hard flat lines. Crew-served .50 calibers rake approaching hulls. The helicopter keeps hunting from above, forcing attackers to jink. Every jink costs them time. Every second at 40 knots is life or death. A suicide boat at this speed can cover a nautical mile in under a minute and a half. 4 seconds of hesitation at the wrong moment can mean impact. 4 seconds. That's all. 39. A boat masked behind a dhow suddenly breaks free, racing straight for the starboard bow. Warning shots already ignored. The Mk-38 tracks, fires, corrects, fires again. First burst shreds the windshield. Second burst punches the engine block. The boat yaws, keeps coming on momentum alone, then detonates prematurely 200 yards out. The blast throws up a tower of water and metal fragments. Even at that distance, the shock wave thumps the hull. Now from the enemy's view. The easy kill they were promised is not happening. They expected confusion. Instead, they are entering a corridor of surveillance and fire control. Boats are vanishing before crews even understand they've been identified. Radios fill with broken calls. Smoke obscures sight lines. Leadership boats that were supposed to guide the attack are already gone.
34. 6 minutes.
A second cluster from the north attempts a different tactic, aiming not at Mason but at the nearest tanker. That is the real danger. Sink the escort and you win headlines. Burn a tanker in the channel and you may shut the strait. Mason pivots immediately. This is no longer self-defense only. It is lane preservation. The destroyer lays a wall of fire between the attackers and the merchant ship. The 5-inch gun shifts to airburst fused rounds set for low-altitude surface effect. Splashes bracket the lead boats. One is lifted almost clear from the water. The helicopter dives again, rockets walking across the trailing pack. A P-8A overhead begins vectoring additional regional air support toward the scene. Bahrain relays refine surface tracks to every friendly asset within reach.
29.
Then the closest layer activates. Phalanx Block 1B. If you've heard it, you don't forget it.
Not a bang. A mechanical scream.
The system locks onto a boat that has managed to survive the outer gauntlet and is charging through spray at under 2,000 yards. The gun spits thousands of rounds per minute, a dense stream of tungsten and rage. The bow of the incoming craft simply ceases to exist. Fragments skid across the water. The remains roll and burn.
28.
Another boat gets within rocket range and fires a crude salvo.
Most miss wide.
One warhead splashes close aboard. Another streaks over the wake of a tanker.
The point is not damage. The point is chaos.
But chaos only helps if defenders lose composure.
On Mason, they do not.
You're on that starboard mount now. Sweat in your gloves. Salt on your lips. Every approaching hull looks faster than the last. Every burst feels too short.
Too long. Too late.
Then training snaps you back.
Breathe. Track. Fire. Correct. 24.
5 minutes. The northern group is collapsing. The southern group keeps pressing. That tells analysts later that this was never a unified fleet action. It was pressure-fed commitment. Some crews were ideologically locked in. Others were probably terrified. But the result is the same. They keep coming into a kill zone that is systematically erasing them. A pair of armed US fighters from a carrier air wing farther south finally enters the edge of the fight. They do not need to drop large ordnance. Precision is everything in narrow water. Sensor pods confirm. Secondary staging craft behind the main pack. Smaller guided munitions ripple out. 2 more boats vanish before they can join the attack.
22. 4 minutes. Final wave.
The last committed group tries the oldest trick in asymmetric naval warfare: overwhelm one side with sacrificial speed and hope just enough metal gets through. 3 boats angle left.
2 right.
1 dead center, engine screaming, hull bouncing so hard it is almost airborne. Mason turns slightly to unmask guns. That maneuver matters more than most people realize. A few degrees of hull angle can mean more firing arcs, less target exposure, better engagement geometry. The center boat is hit by .50 caliber fire, then 25mm, but still closes.
This is the nightmare.
Explosives don't care if the pilot is alive. Momentum alone can kill.
Phalanx speaks again.
The boat disintegrates so violently the blast cloud expands backward like the sea itself punched it apart.
19.
The left flanker gets within 1,000 yards before the helicopter finishes it. The other 2 try to break away.
Too late.
1 is struck by the 5-inch gun. The last is crippled, dead in the water, then destroyed before boarding teams are even considered.
No risks. Not here. Not now. 18. 3 minutes.
The water is a burning scatter of fuel, debris, foam, shattered fiberglass, and black smoke columns leaning with the wind. Radio nets quiet down, then surge again with status checks.
Medical reports. Ammunition counts.
Tanker damage assessments.
Air picture updates.
Surface scan for secondary threats. Final tally of the engagement phase: 50 boats launched. 32 destroyed by shipboard guns. 9 by helicopter-fired precision weapons. 4 by supporting aircraft. 3 disabled and later neutralized. 2 turned away early and were tracked back toward shore. 0 successful impacts on Mason. 0 hits on the escorted tankers. Minor superficial damage from fragmentation and near-blast spray. Strategic outcome? Total failure. But the story does not end with survival. Because once hostile intent becomes hostile action in a choke point this critical, the question changes. It is no longer, can the destroyer defend itself? It becomes, how do you make sure this cannot be repeated an hour later with another 50 boats? This is where counterattack authorization enters. In this fictional scenario, Fifth Fleet forwards the engagement data within minutes to CENTCOM leadership. The evidence is overwhelming: coordinated maritime suicide attack, attempted blockade action, direct threat to international shipping. The legal and military case for immediate retaliatory suppression is airtight. The response is approved fast, because delay in a place like Hormuz invites a second wave. And this is the moment the entire strategic picture flips. The swarm was tactical. The response is systemic. Not revenge. Not theater. A calculated demonstration. American planners do not just hit the boats that launched. They go after the machinery that makes the tactic possible. Coastal staging piers near Bandar Abbas. Fuel dumps used by the small craft force. Hardened communications nodes guiding the attack. Radar and surveillance points feeding maritime tracks. Munitions storage bunkers. Maintenance yards where fast boats are armed and turned around. Command vehicles. Data relays. Future capability denial. From the Arabian Sea, a guided missile submarine contributes Tomahawk land attack missiles against fixed support infrastructure. Carrier aircraft strike launch coves, revetments, and guard naval facilities with precision-guided weapons designed to limit collateral spread in dense coastal terrain. Additional maritime patrol aircraft maintain overwatch to ensure no surviving craft reform for a second push. Electronic warfare assets suppress coastal emitters. What began as a close-range swarm fight becomes a multi-domain purge of the attack network behind it. Could the attacking side absorb that and keep escalating? That is the question every planner fears, because blockades are never just about ships. They are about political will, industrial depth, and who runs out of options first. Within 42 minutes from first alert to first retaliatory impacts ashore, the initiative is completely gone from the attackers. Several launch sites are burning. Fuel storage is hit. Pier facilities are cratered. Command links are fractured. Boats that survived by staying back are suddenly trapped by the destruction of the support chain they needed to sortie again. The message is unmistakable. If you try to close Hormuz with disposable craft, you are not just losing boats. You are inviting the elimination of the entire local architecture that launched them. That's the part casual observers miss. Modern military power is not only about killing the threat in front of you. It's about collapsing the system behind the threat faster than it can regenerate. And the numbers tell the story better than rhetoric ever could. Minute 10, threat recognized and battle stations manned. Minute 16, hostile intent confirmed, first standoff kills. Minute 22, outer waves shattered. Minute 27, closest boats destroyed by layered ship defenses. Minute 42, retaliatory strikes begin dismantling launch infrastructure. Less time than your commute. Less time than a movie episode. Enough time to decide who controls one of the most important waterways on the planet. Afterward, analysts would study everything. Ammunition expenditure. Sensor fusion timelines. Gun camera footage. Intercept geometry. Radio discipline. Tanker spacing. Helicopter shot efficiency. They would likely conclude that the most decisive factor was not any single weapon. Not the 5-inch gun. Not Phalanx. Not the helicopter. It was integration. A destroyer that fights as part of a live intelligence web is exponentially more lethal than a ship fighting alone. The attackers bet on clutter, compression, and fear. They got a lesson in layered defense, response speed, and information dominance. They thought 50 explosive boats in confined water could turn a US warship into prey. Instead, they revealed their own positions, exposed their own doctrine, and triggered the destruction of the very network they needed to sustain a blockade. That is the real lesson here. In modern warfare, cheap mass can still be dangerous. Very dangerous. But only if it arrives unseen, untracked, and unanswered. The second a networked force sees the pattern early, the swarm stops being a terrifying mystery and starts becoming math. So how does this change your view of modern naval warfare in the Strait of Hormuz? Share your take below. Subscribe to join the discussion.